Hi there! Today we're going to continue learning how to prepare for the IELTS exam. Before we do that, try to remember some of the useful tips that you learned from the previous lesson. Done it? Okay, let's go further then. In today's listening, we are going to learn how to best understand categories. What does it mean? You see, in the listening paper, you may be asked to complete a table. The headings in the table tell you what type of information you will hear and need to listen for. They can also help you to follow a talk or conversation.
Now, let's listen to an extract from a conversation and answer some questions. Before you start listening, have in mind this. Pay attention to the number of words you need to write. No more than 2 words means that you may need to write 1 word or 2 words. No more than 1 word or a number means that if you write 2 words or more, then your answer will be wrong. Pay attention to the intonation that people are speaking with. While it's absolutely necessary to primarily focus on the content of people's speech, still do your best to actually understand the manner or the way that they are speaking. Visualize each speaker. To understand the recording better, just try to imagine how the speakers could possibly look like. Don't miss anything. Stay attentive during listening. As it's already been said in Lesson 1, try to remember not only the general idea of the recording, which is indeed important, but also pay attention to all the other smallest things that will help you give correct and precise answers. And now, listen to an extract from a conversation.
Recording 12.
Hi, I'm interested in buying a ticket for the Small Business Expo next week, but I'm not sure it will be useful for me.
Well, this year we wanted to focus on computer skills. So, as well as representatives from 400 small businesses, we've invited over 250 specialists in that area.
Oh, that should be interesting.
In today's reading, we are going to talk about skimming. So, what does it actually mean? When you skim a passage, it means that you read it quickly, just concentrating on content words like nouns and verbs in order to get the main points. It is not about reading for detail. It is more about getting the general idea of how the information is organized, which can help you locate information more easily later on. In your own language, you can probably skim read 100 words in 20 seconds. In the exam, you can aim to skim read 100 words in 30 seconds.
Now, you are going to skim read a passage. Before you start doing that, have in mind the following. Use a timer. First of all, of course, you need to use some device noting the time to actually skim read the text. The reason is that the way we perceive time is quite subjective. So to be able to finish reading at the right time, use a timer. Catch the general idea. As you have probably already guessed, you shouldn't concentrate on any details while skimming. Quite the contrary. What you actually need is to find the main points in the text and follow its general logic. 30 seconds is all you got. Even if you think you haven't done enough reading a certain paragraph, after 30 seconds jump to the start of the next one. You surely may miss something, but it's actually more important to complete the whole text, both by using your time wisely and by getting the best of your memory work. Think of titles for the passages you're reading. Sometimes you may be asked a question that focuses on the whole reading passage. This type of question may ask you to choose a suitable title for the passage. Think about the author of the passage. Skim reading a passage can also give you a sense of the attitude of the writer. Global questions can sometimes focus on this. So, while skim reading, just ask yourself a couple of questions like, who can the author possibly be? Or, is it a man or a woman? Or, how does he or she feel about certain things? And now, skim read this passage.
And finally, let's talk about speaking section.
Now you're going to answer some questions, but before you start answering, have in mind the following. Listen carefully to the examiner's questions. It's important to listen carefully to the examiner's questions so that you can answer in the correct tense. When answering yes/no questions, it is important to answer the question and then give reasons for your answer. Don't simply answer yes or no. Don't forget about the grammar. The spoken language is different to written language, and you may make more grammatical mistakes when you're speaking because there is less thinking time. Try recording yourself as you give the answers to the questions. Then, write out your answers to see the type of mistakes you're making. Use some common expressions for expressing your opinion. When you're giving your reasons or presenting your point of view, start your sentences with some word expressions like I think, I guess, in my opinion, from my point of view, basically speaking, as far as I'm concerned, I'm convinced that, and so on. That will make your speech sound more eloquent and will certainly emphasize the fact that it's your point of view that you're presenting. And now, take some time and think about how you would answer these questions.
In today's writing, we're going to learn how to present information illustrated on a chart, table, or graph.
In today's writing, we're going to learn more about how to present information illustrated on a chart, table, or graph. These are some specific tips that can help you do that. Give a proper answer. What does it mean? Which answer can be considered as proper? You see, your answer must accurately describe the information presented in the visual. Don't draw conclusions that are not supported by the information you are given. Study the given graph, chart, or table carefully. Each time you come across any form of graph, chart, or table, study it carefully and practice picking out the major changes that the figure shows. Imagine that you're explaining to someone else what you have noticed from the graph. Be ready to compare information. The visual information you are given in writing task 1 often asks you to compare or contrast different information. One way of allowing you to compare information is through a bar chart. Use the passive voice. Using the passive voice helps you to show you are describing the visual information. rather than giving your own ideas. To describe future predictions, we often use the passive form of the verbs estimate, predict, and forecast. These sentences often start with it. Be ready to give an overview sentence. It is very important to give a one-sentence overview or summary of the main trends in the chart or graph. You will not achieve a good task achievement score if your answer does not include an overview sentence. Moreover, there are also some don'ts that you should take into consideration. So in order not to lose marks for task achievement, don't do these things. First, leave out data that is important. Second, speculate on reasons for the data. Third, add information not included in the data. And fourth, write less than one